here's Brody Brazil.
So we finally reached the point in this torpedo bat phenomenon that we have tracked down the person ultimately responsible for their design. Lenny, as they call him, used to work for the Yankees. He was a physicist at MIT, started on this concept in like 2022, but obviously over this past weekend, everybody saw what the Bronx Bombers did, all the homers they hit, and now we're basically up to like 10 players across several different major league teams. Elly De La Cruz is one of the latest to start using a torpedo bat and or barrel, whatever you want to call it. I've seen the list. It's about to double from like 10 to 20, and a bunch of teams and a bunch of players now have their orders in. More on all of this in just a second. But again, you will hear from Lenny, the inventor of this. They tracked him down. The media did in Florida. He now works for the Miami Marlins in a similar capacity. But let's begin in Philadelphia with Bryson Stott, Phillies infielder, currently in his third major league season. He gives us some insight into how do you even get one of these bats. It's actually not as simple as going ahead and placing an order and everything's just going to work out for you like that.
A little bit, yeah. I texted Jared at Victus. And
Victus is the bat manufacturer, by the way. Victus and Marucci are the two of the companies making these specific bats.
I was telling Todd earlier that it's not a bat that they've been around. It's not a new thing. It's been around, and it's not a thing you could just go and order. Marucci and Victus have a hit lab, they call it, and connect all these wires to you. You swing 1,000 bats, and they kind of tell you where you're hitting the ball mostly and things like that. So if you're a guy who uses the whole bat, if you get jammed and hit it on the end and hit the barrel, it's not for you.
The bat, the torpedo bat and barrel, I think to Bryson's point, it's a great point. It's not for everybody. Like, this is not a magic wand. First off, the hitter still matters. And the bat obviously still matters. These are certain players in certain situations taking advantage of something that otherwise they couldn't. This is not for everybody.
You've taken wood off the end of the bat and shrinking that part. And it's a lot of stuff that goes into it. So I think with the torpedo, you are more like you get jammed more than hit it off the end, and then it helps. Obviously, you're moving the barrel down a little bit, and but it's not one of those things you could just call and say, I want this torpedo, because it might not work for you. So if you hit it off the end with that torpedo bat, you're in trouble. So it's mostly where you hit it and where all their computers and things are telling you where you're hitting it and things like that.
So you're saying it's not as simple as media person thinking, oh, it works for everybody. No, there's a lot of science behind this.
Have you done that? You've done that?
Yeah, my mom's side of the family lives in Louisiana, so I've been to the hit lab a few times.
So I'm surprised it's legal.
What a fun thing to say. I've been to the hit lab a few times. I think the last question here was, are you surprised it's legal?
No.
Never had a problem with it?
No, it's a bat. You could move the barrel on a normal-looking bat. You can move it down, you can move it up, and it's just all where there's certain qualifications that it has to be within X amount of inches of the barrel, they call it, and it's totally legal, and I think people are starting to see the torpedo now that there was 100 homers hit in 3 games for the Yankees. But no, it's a legal bat, and if you get jammed a lot, why not use it?
Yeah, and again, there are rules about the bat in the Major League Baseball rules of every season. We've gone over that here on the channel already. It's just kind of like there was no definition of where the barrel has to be and where the bat has to be the thickest. Nobody ever made any claims to that. So baseball teams and players and the Yankees and Lenny and everybody else, they're not bending the rules. They're conforming to the rules. They're just doing something different than anybody's ever done before. So Bryson Stott, right? Well-versed in all of this, very much on the inside. And you'd have to think a lot of players and coaches and managers in the baseball community, they absolutely know what's going on. And they've been seeing this coming for a couple years and obviously in this spring training. This is Dan Wilson, manager of the Mariners. And it seems like he's kind of catching up to all this like most fans were recently.
Have any of your guys, dabbled with it at all? And
I have not seen one in person.
Haven't seen one in person? Like none of your players have one? You didn't play in spring training against anybody with one of these bats? That's amazing.
Up close and personal. Interesting phenomena. I really don't really have any idea of what it's like or what it how it feels in the hand, whatever, what the differences are. But yeah, I mean, it's an interesting phenomenon.
And I don't blame Dan Wilson for having that far-away approach because managers have enough to deal with rather than what bats and gloves and cleats the players are using. I'm just surprised that somebody so deep in the game isn't 3 pages into this book already when everybody's just kind of opening the cover on it.
Is it too much too early? You can't really get a sample size.
I mean,
3 days,
it's
4 days.
It is very early. I mean, I think we saw a little bit of this with the Axe bat a couple of years ago.
The axe handle, which I've talked about before, it's kind of like the non-traditional knob to the end. It's not a knob, it's more like an axe handle.
It's a change in the handle. This is a little bit more change in the barrel. Things, we've seen technology affect the game over time, and I think it's just really early to tell.
And maybe that's the best takeaway from all of this, what Dan Wilson is saying. And I can kind of easily see, understand, and agree with this. It's so early. The Yankees might have hit all those home runs with the normal bats that they used 5 years ago. Maybe not. I don't know. But the point is, we're basing all this attention on one series and a 9 home run day and four home runs in the first series for Aaron Judge and Jazz Chisholm Jr. hitting a bunch when maybe he otherwise wouldn't have. And same thing with Volpe. So yeah, maybe it is a really small sample size. But on to, there he is, Aaron. And I don't really know how to say the last name. Is it Leanhardt or Leanhardt? If they're calling him Lenny, I'm thinking it's Aaron Leanhardt. Leanhardt. Aaron Leanhardt began working with the Yankees on this bat idea. I said bat, right? In 2022. So this is not a new idea. This has been brewing for quite some time. It's just that it all surfaced, and we all saw this thanks to what the Yankees did and their broadcast from this past weekend. But Aaron is now part of the Miami Marlins, and here's what he said about all the attention that he and those bats are getting.
A lot of text messages from a lot of old colleagues. They're really excited about it. I think they're mesmerized about how the world of data analytics, physics, math, etc. can have such a positive impact on the game of baseball and generate so much excitement. So it's been a lot of fun for those guys who really supported me to get here. There were definitely some major league players that swung it in the big leagues in 2023, as well as some minor league players that swung it in real baseball games in 2023. And
that just goes to show you how long this has been going on, and nobody really noticed until now.
It just kind of built up throughout 2024 and until what it is today.
Why do you think it's taking off now?
Just takes some kind of to the point that I addressed earlier. Just takes time for guys to get comfortable with it. Time for guys to tweak the designs to their liking. These guys have very dialed-in swings, and they're very in tune with their own equipment. And if version 0.0 is good but not good enough for them, then we try version 1.0, 2.0, and honestly, I don't even know what version we're on right now. But that's the reality at the highest level. Is it takes maybe that long to go through that many iterations.
It's also kind of weird, by the way, that for whatever reason he's not with the Yankees anymore. You'd think that him developing this under their umbrella and being with them, and I don't know if he left them or they were done with him, but you'd think that the Yankees would find a way to keep him throughout all this, to usher it really in, or I don't know. I don't know why he's with the Marlins now.
Because I enjoyed this. I never got this when I was in physics. Are you kidding me?
I think he was talking about all the attention there. Yeah, nobody would ever maybe focus on the engineer, but now because of the sports attention in sports world, he's getting a lot of publicity. So again, I just want to make clear, in all of this, I know it's probably going to influence the stats of baseball to some degree and in some ways, but this is like giving me a race car, right? Now, I can drive a car, but it still matters about the driver as much as it does about the car. Same thing with the bat and the hitter. The hitter matters just as much as the bat, and the bat might be perfect for some hitters, but the bat might be not optimal for some hitters. It's going to take the two to tango situation here, and if they clash, it's just not going to work out. Guys are going to go back to the traditional bats and barrels. But for some players, in some scenarios, in some situations, it's going to work out, and it seems like it might be able to work out pretty big. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments section down below. Also, thumbs up while you're down there. And one more request, if you would, please go hit that subscribe button. I would love that. Come back to the channel so I can definitely see you for the next one.